What's happening?
Yeah.
All right.
Julio,
Can you hear me?
I got you. This is your favorite uncle. What's going on, bro?
Man, nothing much. About to go meet up with my brother. What's happening with you?
You want to go to the Cowboys, Julio? Or you want to stay in Atlanta?
Oh, man, nah, I'm out of there, man.
Okay, so this is going to be a very confusing piece of information, and honestly, I'm excited to bring it to you guys because I know most of my subscribers, Mike Mafia, is tired of speculative videos, and bear in mind, remember I told you guys, if you see breaking in front of the video, that means it's an official roster transaction that you can trust, and that's officially happened. It's not speculation, it's not a rumor. I'm happy I could finally bring you something today, guys, because we are officially at the end of one of the many sagas that have unfolded in the NFL. It's not the Aaron Rodgers saga, unfortunately, but it is the Julio Jones saga, and it is a very confusing situation even once this transaction got made. So before we get to all of this information, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm giving away a pair of Apple AirPod Maxes. All you have to do is follow me on Instagram. I honestly just want to get more Instagram followers in the event something happens to my YouTube channel. And of course, you guys know I have a pretty decent issue with Roger Goodell. There's a good chance this is going to get copyright claimed, so if you could just leave a like to keep this video in the algorithm, I'd really appreciate it. Now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? This Julio Jones situation was very strange to me, to say the least, because the Atlanta Falcons, at least in my head, had a pretty freaking good offense, especially given that they drafted Kyle Pitts with a number 4 overall pick. So an offense that features Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, Kyle Pitts, and a brand new head coach in Arthur Smith seemed very ideal to the average Atlanta Falcons fan. But Julio Jones came out and demanded a trade. Well, he didn't demand a trade, he requested a trade, which is kind of like a tier below in demanding trades when it at least comes to how aggressive you're being, because at this point he's 32 years old and he'd like to spend his final years actually competing and contending for a Super Bowl, something that he came extremely close to in 2016, but unfortunately a specific greatest of all time player came and crushed his hopes and dreams. Now, get this is actually a really cute story because Julio Jones is getting traded to a team where the wide receiver of the team, AJ Brown, practically idolizes Julio. Like, take a look at this TikTok that AJ Brown posted trying to recruit Julio over to the Tennessee Titans.
Julio! That's what they're gonna say when you make a catch, when you make a touchdown. They don't even do that for me. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. And look what I'm wearing. Your first Titan jersey. I haven't even been released yet. Okay, I'm gonna sell you on some things right here. Listen to me closely. You have Tannehill, Mr. Finger Roll himself. Every time, Air Hill. Listen, he does what he needs to be done. Like, he's a leader. He's a great passer. He's it. Anyway, next. Him, behind me, superhuman. We don't even have to discuss him. He speaks for himself. Look how mean he look in the picture. Like, okay. Then me, I'm up and coming. Pro Bowl year 2. Not a big deal. Kind of a big deal, but not really. Okay, scratch that. Anyway, whatever. You, the GOAT of our era, of our receivers. Help me, help you. Come home, Julio. Come home.
So with all of that in mind, let me break down what went down over the past 48 hours and what you can expect in the next 48 hours, because this is not your average trade that just went down. So Julio Jones wants to go to a contender, but he wants to go to a contender that has a big-armed QB that can deliver the deep ball. He wants to outrun defensive backs and get underneath the ball. Now, what's really interesting to me here is, as soon as I heard this, I thought the LA Rams would probably be the team that's most likely to trade for him, because think about it, the LA Rams pretty much tried to compile star players by just giving up their draft capital, and if it only takes a second-round pick to get Julio Jones, wouldn't that make sense? They have Matthew Stafford as a quarterback. Getting him another weapon is very ideal. Other teams with big arm QBs are the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, the Seattle Seahawks with Russell Wilson. What better way to say, hey, Russell Wilson, we're going to show you that we're going to let you cook by getting you Julio Jones? Hell, I know it doesn't make sense because Devontae Adams is a similar style of wide receiver as Julio Jones, but if the Green Bay Packers Packers were to give up a second-round pick and bring in Julio, it would do wonders in telling Aaron Rodgers that, hey, we're committed to getting you a team that will actually help you compete in the future. But none of those moves were made at the end, and I was very wrong because Julio Jones brings a huge cap hit as well. So we officially got word of a trade that went down, and I'm going to give it to you in the order that we heard it in. Coming first from Diana Rossini, who said the Atlanta Falcons are expected to trade Julio Jones to the Tennessee Titans, barring any setbacks within the next 24 to 48 hours per sources. So I could tell you guys what the setbacks could be in just a moment. The two sides are still finalizing compensation, but as one source said, I feel very good about this happening. If there are no snags, the trade is official on Monday. Now, pretty much the only thing that could go wrong in this situation is if Julio Jones happens to fail his physical. And it's a little bit strange because, Ryan Tannehill is a remarkable quarterback, but I don't necessarily think of a big arm QB when I think of Ryan Tannehill. Needless to say, having the offense that the Tennessee Titans would have with Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Ryan Tannehill is very exciting to say the least, especially if you're a Titans fan. But we have more information on the subject because Adam Schefter came out and gave us some more details about the trade. Now, in terms of what the Falcons are getting back, that's still up for debate, because the Atlanta Falcons and Tennessee Titans are still discussing whether the package for Julio Jones will be a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick, or a second-round pick with a swap of other picks. But the belief is the agreement will get done. So let me bring you guys what Papa Ian Rappaport said, and then we'll get to the breakdown of the trade. Sources: the Falcons are trading all-pro wide receiver Julio Jones to the Titans in exchange for at least a second-round pick, a blockbuster for Tennessee, who now gets the coveted big play threat, and Atlanta ends up with very nice value. Now guys, you might be wondering why I wasn't able to get this video out like 15 minutes after we initially heard the news, and that's because we got an update and we got the full details of the trade for you guys from Ian Rappaport. The Titans deal for Julio Jones goes like this. The Falcons get a 2022 second rounder and a 2023 fourth rounder. The Titans get Julio Jones and a sixth rounder in 2023. The Titans take on Julio Jones's salary of $15.3 million in 2021 and the rest of the deal, and the Falcons have $7.75 million in dead money this year. Now, you might be thinking, if you're a Falcons fan, you must be really pissed off. All you're getting are second-round picks at the very least for Julio Jones. Well, here's the thing. This move was 100% primarily a salary cap dump. Julio Jones's cap hit was so big that the Atlanta Falcons couldn't even sign their draft picks this year. And as amazing as Julio Jones has been for the Atlanta Falcons, he is just 32 years old. So to get this type of value for a 10-year veteran wide receiver who might have a few years left in the tank, don't get me wrong, but in my opinion, I believe Julio Jones's best years, like his absolute best years, are behind him, then this, in my opinion, at the very least is a B for the Atlanta Falcons. You're not pillaging the Tennessee Titans. You weren't able to swindle any team for a first-round pick. No team was willing to offer a first-round pick for Julio Jones, so you shouldn't feel bad about getting this type of return for Julio Jones. Meanwhile, if you're the Tennessee Titans, your offense has always been fantastic. You have a bruising running back in Derrick Henry that opposing teams are just terrified of, and you have an up-and-coming wide receiver in A.J. Brown. But unfortunately, they only had an average to above average complement to A.J. Brown at best in Corey Davis in the past. Now that Corey Davis went to the New York Jets, there's a huge void to fill starring opposing A.J. Brown. You factor in the fact that they lost their starting tight end Jonnu Smith, and it makes a lot of sense that they would want to get another big play threat that A.J. Brown literally idolizes and looks up to. I think at the very least, this is going to be remarkable for A.J. Brown's development. This is a man that's already made a Pro Bowl in his second season, and he literally wore the 11 on his jersey because of Julio Jones. You've seen this man warm up in Julio Jones's jersey. So this is a guy that really looks up to Julio. So even if Julio Jones does his best Andre Johnson impression when Andre Johnson went to the Colts, I still think this is going to be remarkable for morale and A.J. Brown's development, which, bear in mind, that is something that could happen. A mistake that a lot of people make in these instances is the Titans think that they're getting prime Julio Jones, and Atlanta Falcons fans think that they gave up prime Julio Jones. Jones. But no, you're getting a 2nd-round pick and a 5th-round pick in return for a player that you gave up 2 first-round picks, a 2nd-round pick, and 2 4th-round picks for in total after having a Hall of Fame career for you over the past decade. So this is a remarkable return and a remarkable move for both franchises, and I'd be very excited if I'm a Tennessee Titans fan. Let me know your analysis in the comment section down below, guys. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.